The morning sun cast long shadows across the broken landscape of Kepler 442b. Staff Sergeant Jake Miller crouched behind a fallen crystal tree, watching the smoke rise from the valley below. His squad of 5 soldiers waited behind him, there, weapons ready. They had been walking for 3 hours through the strange purple forest looking for signs of the enemy. "Sarge, you see that?" Corporal Ben Hayes pointed toward the valley. "Looks like there was a big fight down there." Jake pulled out his field glasses and looked closer. The valley floor was covered with bodies. Some were the black, insect-like creatures they called hive drones. Others were the tall, 4-armed aliens known as Zephyrians. Both sides had been fighting the hive for almost 3 years now, but they were not exactly friends. "Let's move down and check it out," Jake said. "Stay sharp, could be survivors." The squad moved carefully down the rocky slope. The smell of burnt metal and alien blood filled the air. Jake had seen many battlefields, but this one was different. The Zephyrians had fought hard here. Their blue blood mixed with the green acid that leaked from dead hive drones. Private Lisa Chen stepped over a dead drone. "Why do they always smell like rotten eggs?" she asked, covering her nose. "Just keep moving," Jake replied. He was more interested in the Zephyrian bodies. These aliens were tough fighters, each one standing 8 feet tall with 4 powerful arms. Their natural armor was thick and strong. It took a lot to kill one. As they moved deeper into the battlefield, Jake heard a sound. It was quiet, like someone trying not to breathe too loud. He held up his hand and his squad stopped. "Over there," he whispered, pointing to a pile of rubble near a broken crystal formation. They approached slowly, weapons ready. Behind the rocks, they found him. The Zephyrian warrior was huge, even lying on the ground. His 4 arms were covered in blue blood, both his own and from enemies he had killed. His armor was cracked in several places and a large piece of metal stuck out from his lower back. But his eyes were still open, still aware. "Holy shit," muttered Corporal Danny Foster. "That thing's still alive." Jake knelt down next to the alien. The Zephyrian's large eyes, each one the size of a human fist, looked up at him. There was pain there, but also something else. Shame. "His legs," Lisa said quietly. "Look at his legs." Jake looked down. The alien's powerful legs, which should have been moving, lay completely still. The metal that had hit his back had cut deep into his spine. This warrior, who could probably lift a small car, could not move his legs at all. The Zephyrian tried to speak. His voice was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. Jake did not understand the words, but he knew what the alien was trying to say. In their culture, a warrior who could not fight was already dead. "We should go," Ben said. "Leave it here. The hive could come back." Jake looked at the alien again. He had fought against Zephyrians before the war with the hive started. They were proud, strong, and never gave up. This one had probably killed a dozen hive drones before that metal beam had cut him down. "No," Jake said. "We're taking him with us." "What?" Danny stared at him. "Sarge, that thing weighs like 400 pounds, and it's an alien." "He's a warrior," Jake said simply. "Just like us." The Zephyrian's eyes focused on Jake's face. Something passed between them, human to alien, soldier to soldier. The alien tried to speak again, this time in broken English. "Leave. Me. Here," the warrior said. Each word seemed to hurt. "Cannot. Fight. Am. Dead." "No, you're not," Jake replied. He started checking the alien's wounds. The bleeding had mostly stopped, but the metal beam in his back was still there. "Lisa, get the med kit. Ben, help me figure out how to move him." "This is crazy," Ben said, but he started looking around for something they could use as a stretcher. Jake worked quickly. He had basic medical training, enough to know that moving someone with a spine injury was dangerous, but leaving him here was certain death. The hive drones always came back to eat their dead. "Found some metal sheets," Ben called out. "We can make a stretcher." As they worked, the Zephyrian watched Jake's face. His people called humans soft skins and thought they were weak. But this human was risking his life and his mission to save an enemy. It made no sense. Why? The alien asked. Jake looked up from bandaging a wound on the alien's arm. Because it's the right thing to do. It took them 20 minutes to build a stretcher and get the huge alien onto it. Jake had to cut away some of the metal from his back, but he left the big piece alone. Moving it might kill the warrior instantly. This is insane, Danny said as they lifted the stretcher. He's so heavy. They started moving toward their base, taking turns carrying the stretcher. The Zephyrian, who told them his name was Kethvar, stayed quiet most of the time, but Jake could see him watching, thinking. After an hour of walking, Lisa spotted movement in the trees. "Hive scouts," she whispered. Jake's heart started beating faster. Carrying Kethvar made them slow and easy targets. The smart thing would be to leave the alien and run. But Jake had made his choice. "We keep moving," he said. "Stay quiet." They moved through the purple forest like ghosts, hiding behind the crystal trees when the hive drones got too close. Kethvar never made a sound, even when the stretcher bumped over rocks and hurt his wounds. 2 hours later, they reached the human base. The guards were surprised to see them carrying a Zephyrian, but they let them through. The medics rushed out to help. As they carried Kethvar to the medical tent, the alien grabbed Jake's arm with one of his 4 hands. His grip was still strong. "Why?" he asked again. Jake looked down at the warrior who could no longer walk. "Because that's what humans do," he said. "We help each other, even when it's hard." Kethvar's large eyes closed as the human doctors gave him something for the pain. As he fell asleep, he wondered about these strange softskins who would risk everything to save someone they barely knew. In his warrior culture, the strong survived and the weak died. But maybe there was another way to be strong. Jake watched the medical team work on Kethvar. He did not know if the alien would live, but he knew he had done the right thing. Sometimes being human meant making the hard choice, even when nobody understood why. 3 weeks had passed since Jake brought Kethvar to the human base. The alien warrior woke up in a white room that smelled like medicine and clean metal. Everything was too small for him. The bed was too short, the ceiling too low. But he was alive. Dr. Kate Williams walked into the room carrying a tablet. She was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes. Kethvar had learned that she was the head doctor at the base. "Good morning, Kethvar," she said in simple words. "How do you feel?" Kethvar tried to sit up. His 4 arms worked fine, but when he tried to move his legs, nothing happened. They lay on the bed like dead weight. "My legs," he said in his rough English, "cannot move." Dr. Williams sat down in a chair next to his bed. "I'm sorry. The metal that hit your back damaged your spine. We saved your life, but your legs will not work again." Kethvar stared at the ceiling. In his culture, this was worse than death. A warrior who could not fight was nothing. His family would be ashamed, his clan would forget his name. "I should die," he said quietly. "No," came a voice from the doorway. Jake walked in, carrying a cup of coffee and a small box. "You should live." Kethvar looked at the human who had saved him. "Why you come here every day?" Jake sat down and opened the box. Inside were small cubes of something brown and sweet-smelling. "Because we're friends now, and friends visit each other." He handed one of the cubes to Kethvar. "Try this. It's chocolate." Kethvar ate the chocolate slowly. It was sweet and rich, unlike anything from his home world. "Is good," he said. "I thought you might like it." Jake smiled. "Your people and mine were not so different. We both like good food." Over the next few days, Jake came to visit every morning. He brought different human foods for Kethvar to try. Coffee, which the alien loved. Fruit that tasted like sunshine. Bread that was soft and warm. But more than food, Jake brought stories. "Tell me about your people," Jake said one day. Kethvar was quiet for a long time. Then he began to speak about his home world. where warriors trained from childhood to fight, about the great battles his people had won, about the honor that came from dying in combat. Warrior who cannot fight is dead, Kethvar said. Is our way. Jake leaned forward. But what if there are other ways to fight? No, understand. Jake pulled out a small device and showed Kethvar a picture. This man was named Franklin Roosevelt. He was a leader of my people during a great war. His legs did not work, but he still led millions of soldiers to victory. Kethvar looked at the picture. The human in the picture was sitting in a chair with wheels. He was warrior? The greatest kind, Jake said. He fought with his mind instead of his body. The alien warrior thought about this. Your people allow this? We honor it, Jake said. Strength comes in many forms. A few days later, Jake brought someone new to meet Kethvar. She was a human woman in a military uniform. Her legs were made of metal and plastic instead of flesh. Kethvar, this is Colonel Amy Davis, Jake said. She commands 3,000 soldiers. Kethvar stared at her artificial legs. You are warrior? Amy smiled. I lost my legs in a bomb explosion 5 years ago, but I kept fighting. Now I lead more soldiers than I ever did before. She sat down next to his bed. Jake told me you think your fighting days are over. Cannot walk, cannot fight. Can you think? Amy asked. Yes. Can you plan? Yes. Can you lead? Kethvar was quiet. Maybe. Amy stood up and walked around the room on her metal legs. I move differently now, but I still move. You will fight differently now, but you can still fight. That night, Kethvar lay awake thinking about what the humans had told him. On his world, disabled warriors were forgotten. But these humans seemed to believe that strength could take many forms. The next morning, Jake brought him something new. It was a small computer tablet loaded with human military history. Read these stories, Jake said. Learn about humans who overcame impossible things. Kethvar read about human generals who won battles from hospital beds, about scientists who made great discoveries while their bodies failed them, about leaders who changed the world while fighting their own physical battles. One story made him think hard. It was about a human scientist named Stephen Hawking who could not move or speak, but whose mind unlocked secrets of the universe. This human, Kethvar said when Jake came to visit. He could not move anything? Only his eyes, Jake said. But his thoughts changed how we understand space and time. And your people honored him. The whole world honored him. Kethvar was quiet for a long time. Then he said, I want to try. Try what? To find new way to fight. Jake smiled. I was hoping you would say that. The next day, Dr. Williams brought Kethvar a special chair. It had wheels and was big enough for his large body. With help, he sat in it for the first time. Feels strange, he said. Everything new feels strange at first, Jake said. But you'll get used to it. Kethvar moved the wheels with his forearms. The chair rolled forward slowly. It was not the same as walking, but it was movement. My people will not understand, he said. Then show them something new, Jake replied. Show them that strength can take many forms. That evening, Kethvar sent a message to his homeworld. It was the first time he had contacted his family since the battle. He told them he was alive. He told them he was still a warrior, just a different kind of warrior. The response came back quickly. His clan leader was angry. His family was confused. But Kethvar had made his choice. I will not die in shame, he told Jake. I will live with honor. Jake put his hand on the alien's shoulder. Now you're thinking like a human. Kethvar looked at his friend. These strange, soft skins had taught him something his own people never could. Sometimes the strongest thing a warrior can do is keep living, keep fighting, even when everything changes. Thank you, he said in his rough English. You saved more than my life. You saved my future. 6 months had passed since Kethvar first sat in his special chair. The alien warrior now moved through the human base like he had been born to it. His 4 powerful arms controlled the chair with perfect skill. But this was not just any chair anymore. Human engineers had worked with Zephyrian technology to build something new. The chair was connected to the base's computer systems. Screens floated around Kethavar, showing battle maps, troop movements, and enemy positions. His four arms could control everything at once. "Show me the eastern sector again," Kethavar said to Lieutenant Mike Carson, the human intelligence officer. Mike pressed some buttons, and a 3D map appeared in the air. "Hive scouts have been seen here, here, and here," he said, pointing to red dots on the map. Kethavar studied the pattern. His large eyes moved quickly across the display. "They are not scouts," he said. "They are preparing for big attack." "How can you tell?" "Pattern is wrong for scouting. This is how Hive prepares to strike." Kethavar moved his hands and the map changed. Lines appeared, showing how the enemy would likely attack. "They will come from 3 directions at same time," Mike stared at the display. "If you're right, we need to warn command immediately." Jake walked into the command room, now wearing the stripes of a master sergeant. "What's the situation?" "Kethavar thinks the Hive is planning a major attack on New Geneva colony," Mike said. Jake looked at his alien friend. Over the months, they had become a perfect team. Jake understood human tactics and could adapt quickly to changing situations. Kethavar could see patterns that humans missed and plan complex operations with his four-armed multitasking ability. "When?" Jake asked. "Soon," Kethavar replied. "Maybe 2 days." An alarm started ringing throughout the base. Colonel Amy Davis's voice came over the speakers. "All personnel to battle stations. We have confirmed enemy movement toward New Geneva. This is not a drill." In the main command center, chaos filled the air. Officers shouted orders while screens showed enemy positions. The Hive attack was massive, bigger than anything they had seen before. General Robert Stone, the human commander, looked overwhelmed. "They're hitting us from 17 different directions," he said. "Our computers can't process all this information fast enough." "Sir?" Jake stepped forward. "Request permission for Kethavar to coordinate the defense." Several officers turned to stare. Commander Veltar, a Zephyrian officer, spoke up angrily. "You want Broken Warrior to lead us? This is madness." "He's not broken," Jake said firmly. "He's adapted." Kethavar rolled his chair forward. "General Stone, I can see patterns in this attack. Can process multiple data streams at same time. Please let me help." General Stone looked at the screens showing the overwhelming enemy attack. Traditional command methods were failing. "What do you need?" "Access to all sensors, all communication channels, all troop positions," Kethavar said. "And Jake as ground coordinator." Dr. Williams, who had been watching from the side, stepped forward. "General, Kethavar's adapted neural interfaces allow him to process information at rates far beyond normal capacity. His brain has actually rewired itself to work with the technology." Commander Veltar shook his head. "In our culture, warriors who cannot walk cannot lead." "Then maybe it's time for your culture to learn something new," Jake said. Kethavar looked at his fellow Zephyrian. "I cannot walk, this is true. But I can think, I can plan, and I can fight in ways I never could before." General Stone made his decision. Do it. Give him full access. Screens and displays surrounded Kethavar like a metal flower. His forearms moved constantly, pulling up data, analyzing positions, coordinating responses. Information flowed through his mind like water. "Jake," he said without looking away from the screens. "Take Alpha Company to Grid 77. Enemy will break through there in 12 minutes. Jake grabbed his gear. "How do you know?" "Hive always probe weak points first. Your left flank has only 60 soldiers. Need more." Jake ran to coordinate the defense while Kethavar continued working. His adapted brain processed thousands of pieces of information every second. Drone feeds, soldier reports, satellite images, and biological sensors all merged into a complete picture of the battle. "Bravo Company, move to support Alpha," he commanded. "Charlie Company, prepare flanking maneuver on enemy position 3. The human and Zephyrian officers watched in amazement as Kethavar orchestrated the defense. His paralyzed legs meant nothing now. His mind had become the most powerful weapon on the battlefield. Direct hit on enemy cluster 4. came a report over the radio. Confirmed enemy retreat from Sector 9, came another. But Cathvar saw something else. Deep in the data streams, he noticed a pattern. The main attack was not the real threat. Jake, he called over the radio. The big attack is distraction. Real attack coming from underground. They are digging tunnels. How can you tell? Seismic. Sensors show vibrations. Very small, but pattern is wrong for natural causes. Cathvar's 4 hands worked frantically, pulling up underground maps. They will come up inside New Geneva colony in 30 minutes. Jake's voice crackled over the radio. That's impossible. The colony is 50 miles from the battle. Not impossible. Hive dig fast when they need to. Cathvar's screens showed the tunnel system he had discovered. We need to collapse tunnels before they reach colony. General Stone leaned over Cathvar's chair. How do we do that? Cathvar's eyes moved between multiple screens. Explosive charges at key points. But timing must be perfect. Too early, and they dig new tunnels. Too late, and they reach colony. I'll coordinate the explosives team, Jake said. No, Cathvar replied. You need to be inside colony. When tunnels collapse, some hive will escape into colony. You must be ready. For the next 20 minutes, Cathvar coordinated the most complex military operation he had ever attempted. Explosive teams placed charges based on his calculations while Jake prepared colony defenses for the hive troops that would escape the tunnel collapse. Charges in position, came the report. Colony defenses ready, Jake reported. Cathvar watched his screens carefully. The timing had to be perfect. Detonate in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. The explosions were felt throughout the base. On his screens, Cathvar watched the tunnel system collapse, but his predictions were right. Some hive drones escaped into the colony. Enemy forces inside colony. Jake's voice came over the radio. We're ready for them. The battle in the colony was quick and brutal, but because Jake's teams were prepared, the hive forces were quickly defeated. All clear, Jake reported. Colony is secure. In the command center, everyone stared at Cathvar in amazement. The alien warrior in his wheeled chair had just won the biggest battle of the war. Commander Veltar approached slowly. I was wrong, he said in his own language. You are still a warrior. Maybe the greatest warrior of all. Cathvar looked up at his fellow Zephyrian. I learned from humans that strength takes many forms. Now I teach this to our people. The victory at New Geneva changed everything. News of the battle spread across the galaxy like wildfire. A paralyzed Zephyrian warrior, working with a human soldier, had defeated the largest hive attack in the war's history. But the war was not over. 3 days after the battle, alarms rang again throughout the base. This time the attack was even bigger. The hive had sent everything they had in one final push to destroy the human Zephyrian alliance. Sir, we're looking at over 10,000 enemy units, Lieutenant Carson reported to General Stone. They're hitting 12 colonies at the same time. General Stone looked at the massive display showing enemy positions. Red dots covered half the star map. This is their final attack. If we lose this, we lose the war. Cathvar rolled his chair into the command center. His screens activated automatically, showing the scope of the enemy assault. Is bigger than I thought possible, he said quietly. Jake entered behind him, fully armed and ready for battle. What's the plan? There is no plan, General Stone said grimly. We don't have enough ships or soldiers to defend all 12 colonies. Cathvar's forearms moved across his controls, analyzing the enemy attack patterns. For several minutes, he said nothing. Everyone in the command center waited. I see it, he finally said. See what? Jake asked. The pattern. Hive attack looks random, but is not. They want us to spread our forces thin, but real target is only 3 colonies. On his screens, Cathvar highlighted 3 colonies out of the 12 under attack. These 3 control hyperspace routes. If Hive takes them, they can cut off all human and Zephyrian supply lines. General Stone studied the display. So the other 9 attacks are just distractions? Yes, Big distractions, but still distractions. Kethvar's screens showed troop movements and supply routes. We abandon 9 colonies temporarily. Use all forces to defend these 3. Commander Veltar, who now respected Kethvar completely, spoke up. That is very risky strategy. If you are wrong, we lose 9 colonies. If I am right, we win war. Kethvar replied simply. Jake stepped forward. I trust him. His tactical analysis saved New Geneva. It can save us all. General Stone looked around the room. Every human and Zephyrian officer was watching him. The decision would determine the fate of both species. Do it, he said. All forces to colonies Alpha 7, Beta 3, and Gamma 9. Abandon defensive positions everywhere else. For the next hour, Kethvar coordinated the largest military movement in galactic history. Ships, soldiers, and equipment moved across space toward the 3 target colonies. It was a massive gamble. Enemy forces have landed on all 9 abandoned colonies, came the first report. As expected, Kethvar said calmly. They will waste time securing empty positions. Heavy fighting at Alpha 7, reported another officer. Jake was already suiting up for battle. I'm taking a strike team to Alpha 7. Wait, Kethvar said. He pulled up detailed maps of the colony. Attack will come from 3 directions, but main force will try to take the hyperspace beacon. Must protect beacon at all costs. Jake studied the tactical display. What about Beta 3 and Gamma 9? I coordinate all 3 battles from here. You handle ground combat at Alpha 7. Kethvar's screens showed real-time feeds from all 3 colonies. We fight as one army across 3 battlefields. Jake grabbed his weapons and headed for the transport ship. Try not to get us all killed while I'm gone. I do my best, Kethvar replied with what might have been a smile. The Battle of the 3 Colonies became the most complex military operation ever attempted. Kethvar's adapted brain processed information from thousands of sources simultaneously. His 4 arms controlled tactical displays, coordinated supply, drops, and directed troop movements across 3 different worlds. Enemy breakthrough at Beta 3, Sector 4, came a report. Kethvar immediately moved reinforcements from a quiet sector on Gamma 9. Delta Company, redeploy to Beta 3 immediately. Jake, enemy flanking maneuver heading for your position, he radioed to Alpha 7. I see them, Jake's voice crackled back. Moving to intercept. For 6 hours, the battle raged across 3 colonies. Kethvar fought with his mind while Jake fought with his weapons. The alien who could not walk and the human who would not give up worked together like parts of the same machine. The turning point came when Kethvar spotted the Hive command ship hidden behind a moon near Alpha 7. Jake, I found their command ship. If we destroy it, all Hive forces will lose coordination. How do we reach it? It's in space and we're stuck on the ground. Kethvar's screens showed the colony's defense systems. Colony has orbital missile launcher. Is old and slow but can reach command ship. Those missiles haven't been used in 20 years, Jake said. They probably don't even work. Then we make them work. Kethvar contacted the colony's engineering team. Emergency repair on missile system. You have 15 minutes. While engineers worked frantically to repair the missile launcher, Kethvar calculated the precise targeting solution. The command ship was moving and the old missiles were slow. He had to predict exactly where the ship would be when the missiles arrived. Missiles ready, the engineering team reported. Jake, I need you to create distraction. Make command ship. Move toward grid 77. How do I make a spaceship move? Attack their ground forces from unexpected direction. Command ship will move to get better view of battle. Jake led his strike team in a bold assault that caught the Hive forces completely off guard. As Kethvar had predicted, the command ship moved to observe the unexpected attack. Firing missiles now, Kethvar announced. 3 old missiles launched from the colony's surface, arcing slowly through space toward the Hive command ship. Kethvar had calculated their path perfectly. All 3 missiles hit the command ship, destroying it in a brilliant explosion. Immediately, the coordinated Hive attacks fell apart. Without their command ship, the enemy forces became confused and disorganized. Human and Zephyrian forces quickly gained the upper hand. All 3 colonies secure, came the final report. Enemy forces retreating on all fronts. The war was over. 1 month later, a ceremony was held on the human homeworld. Representatives from dozens of species gathered to honor the heroes of the war. Kethvar rolled his chair onto the stage, wearing new armor designed specifically for him. Beside him walked Jake, wearing the dress uniform of a newly promoted colonel. "The Galactic Medal of Honor goes to Kethvar of the Zephyrian Empire," announced the human president, "for tactical brilliance and courage beyond measure." "The Eternal Flame of Honor goes to Colonel Jake Miller," announced the Zephyrian Supreme Commander, "for showing us that true strength comes from helping others." After the ceremony, Jake and Kethvar stood together looking out at the crowd of humans and Zephyrians talking and laughing together. "We did something good," Jake said. "We did something necessary," Kethvar replied. "Now we do something more." 6 months later, the Joint Species Military Academy opened its doors. Jake served as the human director, while Kethvar served as the Zephyrian director. Students from both species learned, together trained together, and fought together. On the Academy's wall was a simple motto: "Strength takes many forms." In the Academy's first class were several disabled veterans from both species. They learned to fight in new ways, to lead from wheelchairs and command from hospital beds. They proved that being saved was not the end of a warrior's story, but the beginning of a new chapter. Jake often found Kethvar in his office late at night, working on new tactical theories or reviewing student progress. "You never stop, do you?" Jake asked one evening. Kethvar looked up from his screens. "You taught me that being saved is not weakness, is beginning of new strength." Jake smiled. "And you taught me that sometimes the best way to honor a warrior is to help them find a new battle to fight." Outside the Academy windows, ships from a dozen species flew past in the peaceful night sky. The war was over, but the friendship between a human soldier and an alien warrior had created something that would last forever.